Washington just passed the biggest housing law in 30 years, and let me break it down for you. If you've been trying to buy a home anywhere in Silicon Valley over the past few years, you already know the story. Bidding wars, cash offers from companies that you've never heard of, and a supply of home that just never seems to be able to catch up with demand. Well, Congress just passed the biggest piece of housing legislation in over 3 decades, and it actually has some real teeth in it for markets like ours. And today, I wanted to walk you through the 21st Century Road to Housing Act and the 5 parts I think will actually matter most here in the San Jose metro area. Hi, I'm Steve Moon, your San Jose Metro Realtor. Welcome to my channel where we talk about real estate and interesting stories and events in the Bay Area. So a quick background first, because I know Act of Congress isn't really a thrilling phrase. Bill actually started in 2 separate efforts, one in the House and another in the Senate, and over the past years, the lawmakers merged them into what is now called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. It passed the House 396-13 in May, and it officially became law on July 11th. That kind of bipartisan margin is rare these days, which tells you that housing affordability is one of the few things that almost everybody in Congress seems to agree is a real problem. It's a massive bill, 11 titles, and over 60 folded pieces of legislation. Most of it won't touch your day-to-day life. So instead of walking through the whole thing, I pulled out 5 provisions I think will actually have the biggest impact for buyers, sellers, and homeowners right here in the Bay Area. So let's get into the details. Number 1, and the one that probably gets the most attention, a new restriction on institutional investors. If a company owns 350 or more single-family homes, this law now blocks them from buying additional new single-family homes outright. And there's an exception, and if they're building homes specifically for the rental market, but even then, they're required to sell that property to an individual homeowner within 7 years. Why this matters here specifically is that if you've made an offer on a home in San Jose, Sunnyvale, or San Mateo in the last few years, you know that you were competing against an all-cash offer from large corporate buyers and not just another rich family. And this law doesn't ban investors outright, but it won't fix our inventory shortage overnight. But it does narrow one channel that's been pulling entry-level and mid-tier homes out of the pool available for actual owner occupants. For buyers, this is a little bit more room to compete. For sellers, it's worth knowing that your buyer pool composition may look a little bit different moving forward. Number 2 is the one I think is most underrated for our market specifically. The new law adds accessory dwelling unit construction as an eligible use for FHA insured property improvement loans, and it eliminates the old permanent chassis requirement for manufactured homes. Now, that second part sounds unrelated to ADUs, but it's not. That old chassis rules is why factory-built homes always looked and felt like home on wheels, and cities zoned them that way too. Take the chassis out, and that same factory-built unit can now sit permanently on a real foundation and look like any other backyard structure. That's what makes it a realistic ADU option, because it can go up faster and cheaper than something that's being built board by board on the site itself. And if you've looked into building an ADU on your property here in the South Bay, you know that financing has always been one of the trickier pieces of it. And this is particularly relevant now because San Jose, you can now sell ADU as a separate condo. It's a total game changer. And you know construction costs are high, and getting a loan product that actually fits a backyard unit or a garage conversion hasn't always been straightforward. And this provision opens up an FHA-backed financing path specifically for those kinds of projects. And given how many homeowners in San Jose, Campbell, or Santa Clara are now exploring ADU options, whether it's for aging parents or adult kids or rental income, this is a real practical tool that could make penciling out that project more of an option for more and more people. And number 3, the law raises the loan limit on FHA multifamily mortgages. That may sound technical, but the effect is pretty simple. It makes it easier to finance the construction of new apartments and condo buildings using federal-backed loans. In a metro area where multifamily construction has struggled to keep up with job growth, that's a meaningful lever, especially for the kind of mid-sized infill projects that San Jose has been trying to encourage near transit corridors. More financeable multifamily projects means more total units eventually hitting the marketplace, which is one of the few real ways to take pressure off of both rent and home prices here. Now, this will be controversial with existing homeowners, but this is the path that has been decided for us. Number 4 is smaller, but genuinely more consumer-facing. There's a new appraisal modernization requirement, and lenders now have to have a clear path in place for buyers to request a second look or a reconsideration of value if an appraisal comes in low. And if you've ever had a deal nearly fall apart because an appraisal didn't keep up with the fast-moving offer, and around here that's happened more than people realize, this gives you a more formal path to push back instead of just hoping and praying that your lender will be willing to fight for you, which is a bad strategy. Now, number 5 is a bit more indirect, but definitely worth watching. There's a new innovation fund. It's $200 million a year in competitive grant for cities that streamline their permitting process, add density bonuses, or update zoning to allow for more housing to be built. And San Jose has already been active on the zoning reform, so this is a pot of federal money that local leaders could potentially tap into if they keep pushing it in that direction. It's not a guarantee, and it won't show up in your monthly mortgage payment directly, but it's at least an incentive aimed at the kind of local red tape that slowed housing production here for years. It's worth keeping an eye on as San Jose decides how far to lean into this or tap into it. I want to be straight with you on what this law isn't. It's not going to suddenly make San Jose or Silicon Valley affordable overnight. It doesn't change local zoning authority directly, and it doesn't add significant new subsidy dollars for buyers here. What it does is it works on the margins, narrowing investor competition a little bit, opening new financing tools, and creating incentives for local reform. Real change in a market as tight as ours takes years of compounding effects like this, not one universal federal law. So here's the bottom line. If you're a buyer, this gives you a little bit more room to compete against institutional cash buyers, plus a stronger appraisal dispute process if you need it. If you're a seller, it's worth understanding who's actually bidding on your home going forward. And if you're a homeowner thinking about an ADU, there's a new financing path that's definitely worth looking into. I'll keep tracking how San Jose and Santa Clara County responds to this new law as it rolls out, especially that innovation fund money. And if you want me to dig into any one of these 5 in more depth, drop it in the comments and I'll try to cover it next in a different video. Until then, I'm Steve Boone, your San Jose Metro Realtor, and I'll see you in the next video.